Okay. Can you hear me? All right, so what happens with number one? What'd you get, Andrew?
For the first one, I got
Yeah.
50i. Oh, that's how we're doing homework. I got 3 radical 10i.
You're backwards. The 10 comes out as the 100, right? And the I, and then the 3 would stay. Would stay. Hey, Nicole. Good to see you. All right, how about number 2, Olivia Wyndham?
Right, but I subtract from 96.
That's correct. Then what?
And divide both sides by 3.
Right, which was negative, what, 32?
Yeah. And then we do the square root.
Right, that's good.
And then, I don't really know, like, whenever I put my fraction, or whenever I put like a decimal in the fraction, it doesn't give you the fraction, it just gives you a decimal.
Right, that's because you're not putting it in radical form. You're just, actually, you just took the square root of 32, right?
Oh.
Right? So you gotta pull out your what? 16 times 2. What comes out?
4.
4. Okay? So it should be plus or minus, is it 4i radical 2? Is that what it comes out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to
Okay, so just put it in radical form. So you did everything right, Olivia, just gotta simplify it using your packetry. Okay, what about number 3, Grant?
I didn't finish it, but
How'd you start?
or I subtracted 20.
Good. So you had to complete the square, right?
Yeah, and then I took the square root of both sides.
Okay. So we've got, I'll go up here so we can see it. So we've got x squared plus 8x plus blank equals negative 20 plus blank. So what goes into blanks?
16.
Yeah, 16. Good. Half of 8 is 4, and then 4 squared. So we get x plus 4, the square root of x squared, the square root of 16 squared equals negative 4. And then you take the square root, right?
Yeah.
So Trent, what's the square root of x plus 4 squared?
X plus 4.
Good. And what's the square root of negative 4? The 2i, yeah. You know the square root of 4 is 2, right? But since it's negative, we have to pull that imaginary unit out, that I. Okay? So my last step is doing what then?
Subtracting 4.
Subtracting the 4. So where did you stop, Grant?
Oh, I didn't do blanks.
Oh, you forgot about the blanks, okay. All right, so remember, if there's no factors of 20, 5 times 4, 2 times 10, 1 times 20, none of those add up to 8. So we had to move it over and complete the square to make it one of those special trinomials. Okay? So I just kind of review what we've been doing. Okay? So, homework was on page 353, 2 to 8 was the first one, right? Number 2 was what?
50i.
50i, good. What's number 4?
Negative 4 radical 2.
It's this one, negative 4i radical 2. It was the square root of negative 32. Number 6,
Plus or minus 3i.
correct. Just take the square of both sides, negative 9 is plus or minus 3i. And then number 8, we had to divide by 4 first. So we get x squared equals negative 4. So basically it was, just x squared equals negative 4. So then you, here, you get the plus or minus 2i for number 8. Any questions on those first 4? And then we jump down to 18. Andrew, what'd you get? Alex? Good. You take the square root of that negative 4 again. You got the 2i, but you have to multiply it by 8. There's an 8 in front, so it's 16i. Number 20, Scott? Yeah.
12i radical 3.
Correct. Again, that one's just 4 times 3, so you can pull the 2 out, times the 6, there's the 12, it's negative, there's the I, and then the 3 was left. 22, you gotta subtract 49. What's the square root of negative 49, Kennedy?
7,
Yeah, but since it was negative, it's,
5.
right, so plus or minus 7i for that one. And then the last one, number 24, you had to subtract 27 and divide by 3, so you get x squared equals negative 9. So it's like number 6 then, plus or minus 3i. Any questions? It's pretty easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That should have been for you. Okay? So today, oops, not there. Right here. Okay, so complex numbers is what we didn't get to yesterday. All right, a complex number is a number that can be written in the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers, and the I, again, equals the square root of negative 1. The set of real numbers is a subset of the set of complex numbers. All right, so up until yesterday, we just went to the real numbers. Well, then we learned about these imaginary numbers yesterday, square roots of negatives, and putting the real numbers and the imaginary numbers together gets you all numbers that we know about, complex numbers. Okay? Every complex number has a real part A and an imaginary part B. Okay, so A is the real part, B is the imaginary part. Just the number in front of the I is the imaginary part. Okay? Well, the BI, I guess, but when they ask for the imaginary part, it's whatever's in front. Okay? So there's 2 parts for complex numbers, real and imaginary. All right, so real numbers are complex numbers where B equals 0, so you don't have that I in there. 0 times I would be 0, right? Imaginary numbers are complex numbers where A equals 0 and the B does not equal 0. These are sometimes called pure imaginary numbers. So the 2 complex numbers are equal if and only if their real parts are equal and their imaginary parts are equal. That makes sense, right? Real parts equal, imaginary parts equal. So you get a problem like this. It says find the values of x and y that make the equation 4x plus 10i equals 2 minus 4yi true. So the 4x and the 2, if these 2 sides are equal, that means the 4x and the 2 are equal, and the 10i and the negative 4y are equal. Just drop the i's. So all you do is set those equal to each other to find out what x and y equals. So x would be a half, and y would be negative 5 halves. So again, look, the part in front of real parts are equal. Just solve that easy equation, and then the numbers in front of the I are equal, imaginary parts, and solve or what? Easy equation, right? Every year kids miss this problem on the quiz, but it's like the easiest one. Okay, so what am I gonna set equal, Grace?
Okay. And 20? Negative 8?
Yeah. Those parts. Okay. Danny, what's the other parts that are equal? Right. Okay. Oh, I guess we'll just look at that. Let's get rid of that. The -6, and then the 21. You don't need to put the I part in the problem. You need to solve those two easy equations. Okay? That make sense to you guys? All right. So there will be a problem like this on your quiz next Tuesday. Okay. Now, finding zeros. Again, is 26 one of those a perfect square? No. Are there factors of 26, 1 and 26, 2 and 13, that add up to 10? No. So we have to complete the square. All right? What goes in the blank? 25. Nicole and Evan, do you know why it's 25? Okay, here's what you do. You take this b value, the 10, divide it by 2, and then square it. That's how you get to 25. Okay? So what we were doing, what we learned is the blanks, it's always plus blank, is the b value divided by 2 squared. Okay? That's how we got 25. So then what we can do, when we make it, when we complete the square, we make it one of those special trinomials that you can factor to look like this. And all you do to put this binomial here, these two terms, are the square root of that and the square root of the 25. And then whatever's in front of the b goes there. And what class, what does a always have to be when we do this? It has to be a 1 then. Okay? So if a 1's not there, say that was a 2, we would divide everything by 2 to start before we go and do this part. Okay? So negative 26 plus 25 is a negative 1. Okay? Now to finish this up, we got to get rid of that squared. So we're going to take the square root, because the 2 there and the square root symbol, they just cancel each other out. The square root of something squared is itself. So we just have x plus 5 on the left. And what is, we just learned this week, or yesterday, didn't we? Right? So this is I, and when we do this square root on this side, we always put that plus or minus symbol in front of our answer, because the positive and the negative work. And then we finish up by subtracting 5. So our answer would be negative 5 plus or minus I. Questions? All right, you guys try this one, please.
Mine has a mirror. Look at that. My name is your second name? Yeah.
Joe.
That one, yeah, I do. Or
Okay, looks like you guys did pretty good. Okay, what goes into blank? 4. So what's it factor to? X plus 2. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. Again, all you do is take the square root of x squared and the square root of the 4, right? Square root of the first term and the third term. Right? Some of us are missing this. Okay? Now we square root. Alright? So that's just x plus 2 on the left. Alright? That's a 4 times a 2. What can I pull out front? The 2. What else since it's negative? And what's left? The 2, right? What goes in front of this answer? Plus or minus. So Don't forget the plus or minus, don't forget the I, right? The I is because it was negative. And then subtract the 2 over and finish it up. Okay? So we should be able to do those now. We practice those quite a bit. All right. It says the solutions -5 plus I radical 10 and -5 minus I radical 10 are related. It's just like the one we just did. -2 plus 2I radical 2 and -2 minus 2I radical 2. They're related. Okay? These solutions are a complex conjugate pair. They come in pairs. We call them complex conjugates. Their real parts are equal and their imaginary parts are opposites. The complex conjugate of any complex number a plus bi is the complex number a minus bi. All right? So it says if a quadratic equation with real coefficients has non-real roots, those roots are complex conjugates. So when you get that negative under the radical sign and you simplify and then solve that equation, those two answers we call complex conjugates. It says when given one complex root, you can always find the other by finding its conjugate. All right, so sometimes they just give you one of them, and you got to find the other one. So what's a complex conjugate of 8 plus 5i? All right, a plus bi and a minus bi. So what is it?
13.
No, you can't add them.
8 minus 5i.
8 minus 5i, that's all. That easy. Okay? This one is what they call a pure imaginary number because the real part was 0. So those two are the same thing. So what's its conjugate? Zero minus 6i, or just negative 6i. Okay? How about this one? 9 plus I. Oh, they tricked you here. They put the real or the imaginary part in the front, right? So always put the real part in the front and the imaginary part in the back. Then find the conjugate. So what is it? Radical 3 minus I. What's this one? Theta. Okay? That's it. So tomorrow I'm going to give you a practice quiz. We'll go over it Monday, and your quiz will be Tuesday. Okay?